What is up, people? Welcome back to the channel. Today is Powerlifting America Prep Vlog number 1. I am just about to head into the gym, but before I do, I'm going to have my supplements, get my supplements ready. Supplements I'm taking at the moment, so creatine, 5 grams every day. I'm also taking some omega-3s, I'm taking about 3 grams of fish oil, and then I am taking vitamin D3. I'm having 5,000 IUs of this, and now we're going to make up the L Intra. Intra I'm using at the moment, so I'm using Carb HD. So this is basically just cluster dextrin. It's going to provide me with some carbohydrates during the session, because the session is going to be like 2 hours long. Now, as a strength athlete, I'm not absolutely torching through glycogen the same way an endurance athlete will. However, this is just allowing me to get some carbohydrates in during that window, so it saves me having to get 80 carbohydrates later on during the day. And if there can be a performance benefit, well then, so be it. So I'm just having 30 grams of this. So I'm also having some Intra HD. These are EAAs. Now, BCAAs are slightly different than EAAs. EAAs are all the essential amino acids, whereas when it comes to BCAAs, you're only getting 3 of them. So you're only getting leucine, isoleucine, and valine, whereas this is all of the essential amino acids. And to actually spike muscle protein synthesis, you need all the essential amino acids. So BCAAs are pretty much useless. Now, I'm actually not using this because of the benefit I may get from having some intra-workout EAAs. I'm simply just using this because it makes these days better, and Emma already buys them. Another benefit with these is that they do have added sodium and potassium. So sodium and potassium, you're going to be losing those through your sweat during exercise. So having a little bit in your intra-workout drink can help. Even if you just put a little bit of sodium into your water, that can serve the same purpose. Now, I usually blend this up in the mixer and then transfer it over into my water bottle, just so it blends better. Now, the final piece of the puzzle is Redcon Total War. So I have been using Rise up until this point. However, the Rise just has a little bit too much caffeine per scoop. So Rise has like 350 milligrams per scoop. And while that is still below the effective dose in the research, I find if I have like 350 milligrams before I go train, I just feel like way more on edge. Whereas this only has 250 milligrams per serving, has 6 grams of citrulline, 3 grams of beta alanine. Now beta alanine, I'm not really doing many high reps, so it's not really going to give me much of a performance benefit. But the citrulline aromatic in this can allow for at least better pumps. I'm gonna have this is my first time having it. It's a rainbow candy flavor, so we'll see how it tastes. So rainbow candy Redcon, what's it taste like? Doesn't really taste so much, just kind of tastes sweet. Okay people, this is what we have on the plan for today. So some of you may recognize this color scheme. No, I am not working with abs at the moment, but I am following essentially the same prep as I did for Nationals 2022, written by Davidas Barisas. Shout out to Dav, what a man. Now, this essentially is what my plan is going to be for today. I've got some competition squat, work up to a top single and a 3x5, pendulum after. I have barbell RDL, seated hamstring curl, and then onto some upper body work with 2 count press for some sets, and then just back and delts. So yeah, that is the plan for today. I'll bring you through as much of it as I can, depending how busy the gym is. And yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so here we are in the gym. The gym was absolutely packed, as you would expect on a Sunday, so I decided to forego using the mic, and the session was pretty long, so I'm pretty glad that I didn't decide to use the mic, because that would have made the session even longer. So this is my last warm-up single. So this is 455. I'm still getting used to using the pounds, but 455 is like 206 kilos or something like that. So it moved pretty well. It's the first time doing singles now in, God, I'd say 2 weeks. Since before I went to New York anyway, and I was sick previous to being in New York as well. So just getting back into the groove, starting off the singles pretty light because I am so far out from competition, and there's just no reason for me to be loading really heavy weights at this stage, especially when I'm not necessarily in peak condition. So this was my top single of 485. So this is meant to be at around a 7. It felt pretty good. So 485 translates to 220 kilos. So I think I'm going to keep the weight at this for the following few weeks, and I'm really just going to focus on pushing up my volume, which is going to be the next set, which you're going to see. So this set was 425, so 425 is around 193 kilos. Now with these, one thing I noticed when I was watching back this video was, well, you'll see from the first rep, the depth is, yeah, it's high. But
I think what I'm struggling with here is I'm probably starting with a little bit too much extension through my back, which is causing my kind of pelvis to tilt towards the front, and that means then when I get towards the bottom, I'm trying to have to tuck my hips under to actually hit depth. So that's just one thing I have to work on over the next few weeks. So I have to try keep my hips a little bit more stacked underneath my rib cage, as opposed to trying to push my hips back. Just a little bit of a bad habit I've gotten into over the last few weeks, as I have been getting back into squatting, because I did take so much time off it. The skill just is not quite solid just yet. After that, I did two back downs at 182 kilos, so for 4 or 5 pounds. And then it's into the pendulum. So pendulum is my output exercise, so the exercise where I'm really focusing on training the muscle as hard as I can. So I have a low foot placement here. I'm using my heels as well to get a little bit more knee flexion. I'm not wearing my sleeves either, mainly because I want to get a little bit more range of motion and spend a bit more time in that bottom position. Whereas the sleeves, when you think about it, they're trying to rebound you out of that bottom position. But when you're at the bottom of a squat or at the bottom of a squat pattern, that is when your muscles are going to be the most lengthened and you're going to get the most benefit from them. So after my squatting patterns were done, it was onto my hinge variation for the day, which is barbell RDL. So one thing I have been struggling with recently in my conventional deadlift setup is hip extension. So once I get to my knees, I seem to be getting very slow at extending my hips. So I have this in here to really try to train that actual kind of movement pattern more effectively and really get some explosive hip humping to the bar. So this was 435, which is 197 kilos. So pretty solid weight to start off the block with. Moved pretty nicely. Definitely had a good few reps in reserve here, so it's going to be interesting to see where I progressed, because my best is 200 or something. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. Then after that, it was on to 2 count bench press. So one thing I'm doing with this variation is I'm moving my grip in slightly, so I have my middle finger around the ring, whereas usually for competition benching I have my index finger around the ring. Now I'm just trialing different grip widths here on my bench press over the course of the week. So my Larson press day, I'm using my ring finger over the ring, and the reason I'm doing this is because I've never actually really kind of experimented with different grip widths on multiple variations across different fingers on the ring, for example. And generally when I have a slightly closer grip, I do feel quite strong. Now if I go a close grip, I don't feel as strong, but definitely one of those kind of medium grips does seem to have a good carryover to my competition bench, and it does feel generally strong when I do my variations. So I'm just trying it out over the coming few weeks, because I do have time before I get into the peak to kind of just play around with these different grips. And look, it may give me some marginal benefit, it may give me some good carryover, or I might discover that I've actually just been using a grip that has been incompatible with my leverages and my actual strengths to date, and I could potentially have a bigger PB in line if I do use a closer grip. So that is pretty much this session. I didn't record all my accessories because you don't necessarily need to see them. They're kind of boring relative to the SPD movements. This is just my back movement for the day, so just using this Atlantis chest supported row. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully we'll see over the next few months that I get much stronger leading into this competition. And yeah, hopefully you will stick around for a journey. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat soon.